Hey there, my name is Kristen Tripp, the Executive Director of the Da Vinci Experience Science and Arts Summer Camp. And in this training video, we are going to go over payroll. So, if you are a CIT who is not yet earning money at Da Vinci, you do not have to listen to this training. Anybody who does get expected or is expecting to get paid for this season, please stay on this training. So, right in our staff website under the Forms tab, we see some different forms that we can access. And at the very bottom, we see payroll. So if you want to get paid, you must fill out this form with pertinent information that I need in order to put it on my payroll system. Once I get this information on my payroll system, I will then send you an onboarding link. You will get that link via email, and it will be then your responsibility to fill in the rest of your banking and tax information. If you do not fill out the information on this link, I cannot pay you. So that's extremely important to understand. If you come to me and you are concerned that you haven't been paid, but I have not gotten your hours, you cannot have the expectation of being on payroll. Fill out your forms, do your onboarding link. Once you are set up on payroll, you can come to work, you can work and be paid. With that being said, the other form we're seeing on the Forms tab under the Payroll section is payroll directions. If you are new to payroll, we'll talk a little bit about how it works. So we've talked a little bit about onboarding, which is great. Payroll happens on Thursdays. So I run a payroll on Thursday, which means everybody gets paid on Friday. Woohoo! We do a weekly payroll here at Da Vinci. So every Friday, you should be paid. The very first Friday you start, or the very first week you start, you won't get paid until the following week. And the very last week that you work, you'll get paid one more week after. Payroll is 1 week behind. So, if you would like to be paid on Friday, you must clock in and out. So, with clocking in and out, we have a special app that you can go onto. It's an ADP app. ADP is the payroll company that we use. You are responsible for downloading this app on your phone. And at orientation, I will send out the information on how to download this app. Once it's downloaded, you have a profile. When you come into work, it is your responsibility to clock in. When you leave work, it is your responsibility to clock out. If you are somebody who is not good at remembering to clock in or out, I highly recommend that you set an alarm for yourself around the time that you would typically leave a work day. So if your shift starts between 8:45 and 3:30, then you should have a timer on your phone at 8:45. So when you get to work, it rings, reminding you to clock in. And then at the end of the day at 3, maybe even 27, a few minutes ahead of time, it rings so you know, oh, I should be clocking out here soon. So that if it rings right at 3:30 and you're still in the middle of something or talking to somebody, you don't forget. Now, if you forget to clock in and out, not only can it leave gaps in your timeline, it sometimes will offset your other hours. For instance, if you don't clock in the morning, but you forget that you didn't clock in and you clock out at the end of the day, you're actually clocking in, which is logging you all evening long into the morning. And the next time in the morning when you go to clock in, that's going to clock you out. So it can mess up all of the week of payroll. So if something like that happens to you, if you either just forget a day or you end up on an inverted clocking in or out schedule, it is your responsibility to email the Da Vinci email, davinci.experience@gmail.com, before Thursday. Sometimes I run my payroll at 4 a.m. and sometimes I run it at 4 p.m., but that is the day that I run payroll. So it is not a reasonable expectation that if you send me an email on Thursday, I will always be able to get that information in the system in time. I may, but it's also likely that I may not. So at the latest, get your payroll information in by Wednesday night through email. If you text me or verbally tell me or give me a call, the chances are that that will not go through. All payroll information and hours and corrections for hours should be coming through via email before Thursday. Now, with that said, if you forget, we can always add it in next week. But in order to avoid overtime hours, I might have to do a stipend or I might have to spread those hours out. It can get complicated. So it's really important that you are on time clocking in and out. And it makes admin's life a lot easier if you just are clocking in, clock out, set alarms for yourself. And if there's something minor, let us know before Thursday. Now, with all of that said, if there is something else going on with your payroll, like there's an incorrect number or there's an incorrect taxes taken out or anything like that, once again, please email us as soon as you realize it, as we, of course, want to make sure we are paying you on time correctly. And any information that we need in order to make sure that that happens is very important. All right. Now we're going to quickly go over a few of these contracts. Now we have our staff applications, all applications for staff and counselor, teacher and counselor right here. And all of our contracts for teachers and counselors are right here as well. All of this information, as well as your certifications and resume, should be filled out before your first day of work. We have a staff folder for each of you that has everybody's certifications, resumes, applications, contracts, payroll information, etc. If you show up to work on the first day and you do not have this information, you will not be allowed to work until you get this information. If we have the forms on hand or you have it on with you and you can fill it out right then and there and get it done, you can clock in after you get that paperwork handed over. If you do not have the paperwork for some reason or you cannot access the information, you will have to leave and return when that paperwork is filled out and everything is signed and we have everything in your folder. Once again, if you don't have this information and you do show up and it takes an hour for you to get all this information on site, you will not clock in until after that all happens. All of this information, certifications, and paperwork should be in the hands of the admin at DaVinci before you start work. And if there are any questions about any forms, if there are any issues with forms, or if you have any questions surrounding that, you can absolutely email at davinci.experience@gmail.com as soon as something comes up, and we will get back to you as soon as possible.